you to semifinal Sunday in the ACC Women's Lacrosse Championship here on the campus of Notre Dame, where the 5th-seeded Fighting Irish take on the top-seeded Tar Heels. #1 North Carolina and Jenny Levy, Jamie Ortega searching for their 6th straight ACC championship. And boy, did they look good in the quarterfinal. Staying perfect on the season, a convincing 15-6 win against Pittsburgh. And Notre Dame, how about the hosts? They felt right at home in the quarterfinal, blew the doors off of Duke 19-11. They scored on the first 11 shots they took on Friday. And that sets up a terrific semifinal #1. We started with 9, down to just 4. North Carolina, Notre Dame gets us started. Boston College, Virginia to follow. As the calendar turns from April to May, every game seemingly matters more and more. We're happy to bring it to you today. Alongside Sheehan Stanwick Birch, I'm Jay Alter, Dana Boyle on the sidelines in just a minute. And Sheehan, let's start with North Carolina, the lone undefeated team in the country. This Tar Heels team, at times this season, they've looked simply unbeatable.
They have been phenomenal, playing some of their best lacrosse. And one of their biggest strengths is their depth. So many weapons end to end. Their bench is deep, and they've got so much talent, and they share the ball so well. Very impressive.
They've got great history in this tournament as well. They've won 5 in a row, trying to make it 6 in a row here at the ACC Championships. You mentioned the balance, the depth. It's not just Jamie Ortega. They can beat you so many ways.
So many ways. They're a great, unselfish team. They share the ball well. Scotty Rose-Browning had 5 goals season high. Sam Geiersbach is a spark off the bench. 4 goals in that game. Ortega, we are on record watch. She is 6 points away from being the ACC all-time career points leader. And Caitlin Wurzberger is phenomenal. Great distributor, 4 assists in that quarterfinal game.
North Carolina came in the well-deserved favorites for this tournament, but Notre Dame, they were the most impressive team in our quarterfinals.
It was like they were ejected out of a cannon. The first 11 shots went in. They were able to take an 11-2 lead against Duke, a major upset. Their backs were against the wall. They were trying to get themselves eligible to be an NCAA at-large berth contender.
Yeah, Dana, it was like they flipped a switch from the regular season to the postseason.
The light switch certainly helped, Jay, but they have a scratch pad that they keep on the sideline, so it helps with that mistake amnesia. Anytime they come off the field, maybe they missed a ground ball, maybe they couldn't connect on a shot. They write it down on this pad of paper, and then they immediately erase it because they have to focus on the past. They have to focus on that future game at a time, and they've got to be able to ride that wave of some of those mistakes.
Well, whatever Christine Halfpenny is doing, it is working. Trying to book a spot in the final and upset the top-seeded Tar Heels. It's Ali Mastriani in white for North Carolina. Notre Dame in the road blues with Kelly Dennis starting the draw control circle. It's got to be weird playing in the road uniforms here at home for Notre Dame, but they're the lower seed in this tournament.
Not only are they wearing the blue jerseys, but their score is not going to be under their name on the scoreboard, and they're on a different bench, which is definitely unusual.
It certainly worked for them in that quarterfinal against Duke. Obviously unrealistic that you're going to score on your first 11 shots again, but how do they keep the offensive flow going against a really talented Tar Heels defense?
I mean, that was one of the best games I've seen Notre Dame play all year. I think what that win against Duke gives them is a ton of confidence, and knowing that they can place their shots extremely well. They worked excellently as a team, but now they've got a big challenge against this #1 Tar Heel.
Here's Madison Ahern midway through the shot clock on the first possession of this ACC semifinal. What a start! Maddie Howe picking up where the Irish left off on Friday, and Notre Dame opens the scoring.
What a start for Notre Dame. Really efficient, working the ball around, not forcing things. Maddie Howe, though, just is able to slice through the defense there. Miscommunication for UNC. You can see the direction right there, trying to communicate someone else is supposed to slide. Beautiful job by their leader, Maddie Howe.
And that is absolutely the start that you need if you're Notre Dame. We were wondering, we were talking earlier this week, can they have that same start like they had against Duke? And that's a great one. When we were talking to Coach Halfpenny, she had a mug during our coaches call and it said, "You got this."
Well, this team has just been locked into a do-or-die mentality for a few weeks now. You go back to the regular season, they were 5-8 going into the final 3 games of the regular season. They needed to win them all. even to have a chance at NCAA eligibility. They earned that NCAA eligibility with the upset win against Duke, and now they are just riding the wave.
And I think that's amazing to have that mentality. It served them extremely well, playing their best lacrosse this season. Those one-game seasons that you got to win or your season's going to be over. Now they're setting their sights on getting that automatic qualifier, which goes to the winner of the ACC championship. But Notre Dame has been playing some excellent lacrosse.
The Irish scoring 58 seconds into this semifinal. Now North Carolina with their first settled possession. Offensively, it seems this season, North Carolina, they just don't have off days.
So talented. We often talk about their depth because really any one player can shine out there for them. So much talent from the goaltender, Taylor Marino, their great defensive unit. Excellent play for Notre Dame. And you can see how psyched they are. Good pressure and a turnover, and that's a very unlikely turnover for UNC behind the cage under pressure.
Caitlin Wurzberger, the sophomore, so comfortable operating behind the cage at X. Turned it over there. And Notre Dame's defense, Hannah Dorney and crew, they're high-fiving each other on midfield as the offense sets up shop. Spinning. Wollack got the hands free, but right at Marino, her first save of the afternoon. All ACC first teamer in goal. Feels like she's been in goal forever for North Carolina.
She has been the 6th-year player for UNC. She is one of the best goalkeepers in the nation. You mentioned her being first team all ACC. So they're really going to need to move Taylor Marino. You do not want to give her easy shots.
When you talk about being a program staple, she and Taylor Marino, she just eclipsed the win record of Kaylee Waters, who serves on staff. She's a volunteer assistant, also was a stud in goal for Carolina, but I know Kaylee's happy to have that record broken.
Kaylee making Team USA for this Summer World Championship. She'll be in net for Team USA. Notre Dame on defense. 2 North Carolina possessions, 2 turnovers. What a start.
Amazing. Couldn't ask for a better start for Notre Dame right now. You mentioned they scored 11 shots. Their first 11 shots were all goals against Duke. It was absolutely electric. And I think Coach Halfpenny and the whole team knows that is, I've never seen that happen before. That was an unbelievable start. But it will give them the confidence they need. This team has been up and down all season, fighting for their lives towards the end of the season.
Here's Jackie Wollack. She had 6 assists, her career high in that ACC quarterfinal win against Duke. Number 23 in blue. She was the feeder, but everybody got on the score sheet, it felt like. Doherty goes low, sneaks it by Marino. MK Doherty makes it 2-0 Irish.
What end-to-end effort for this Notre Dame team. It starts on their defensive end here. Watch the turnover. Back-to-back turnovers on UNC's offense. Excellent in transition. MK Doherty set up here for an isolation play. She takes it left, and that's a beautiful placement of the bounce shot. Watch Marino in cage. She fights for it, goes down, just isn't able to get a stick on it.
What I took away from that win versus Duke with Notre Dame is so much of their offensive production comes from the spark on defense, and that's what you want. When your defense does a good job and works hard to get the ball out of their end, you have to capitalize.
Notre Dame, when they've been successful this season, has been a first-quarter team. Outscoring opponents by 29 goals this season in the first quarter. Saw that against Duke, got out to an 8-2 advantage, and they've certainly started on the front foot today against the only undefeated team in the country, North Carolina, 16-0, and the Tar Heels, they've been the second-best team 4 minutes into this game.
Maybe a time when UNC wants to take a timeout once they do get possession of the ball. We've seen UNC at times play near perfect lacrosse. Jenny Levy has very high standards, as the rest of her staff does.
Marino out of goal, has to hustle back in. Wollack settles it. Here's a Hearn, and it trickles in. Marino got a piece of it, but not enough to keep out the Madison Ahern shot. 3-0 Notre Dame.
You can see Marino one step back. The can on the sidelines for Notre Dame. You got to even think injured players in the chair doing a little kicking. Watch this play back here. Jackie Wollack has been phenomenal with the assisting abilities. And Marino gets a piece of that, but Madison Ahern's able to slip it by her. There's players down the turf right in front as well. You can see with the body language there that Taylor Marino one set, one back. Ahern, 5 goals, 1 assist in that quarterfinal game.
And as much as she produces and puts the ball in the back of the net, she's really the voice of strategy. And before this season, she was pretty much primarily an assister. So for her to get on that board, I know Taylor Marino wants that one back, but that's huge. This is another huge start for Notre Dame.
You just feel the different sense of energy when we saw Notre Dame take the field coming into the quarterfinal game, when they were warming up today. We're going to see a hold call. And this ball is going to be awarded to UNC, so a much-needed possession for the Tar Heels. Look how Notre Dame was really pressuring, trying to put some pressure on UNC to get it in their offensive end.
I don't know if this North Carolina team has been down 3 goals all season.
I can't remember a time. They definitely were challenged in the Boston College game. They won that game 16-15, but that was a back-and-forth game. And Syracuse, they won that at 14-12.
Ringing off the pipe, inches away from the opening goal. North Carolina gets the rebound and reloads.
That pipe shot will reset the shot clock.
In a 3-0 hole. The lone undefeated team left in the nation, looking to make it 6 straight ACC championships. A perennial power out of Chapel Hill. Here's Jamie Ortega. Way too much on that, and Notre Dame backed it up.
Huge play. Not only does the defense get a check on Jamie Ortega to send that ball wide, then they run the ball out, so no backup for UNC.
Notre Dame, all gas, no brakes right now. A team that was 5-8 just a couple of weeks ago, in total jeopardy of not even making the NCAA tournament. They've won 4 in a row. They show no signs of slowing down. Ahern, who just scored on the previous possession. Now over to Casey Choma, the All-ACC first-teamer.
Watch Notre Dame just setting up overload plays, some picks and stacks.
Feed inside, it's 4-0. Madison Moat buries it into the back of the net. You could not have scripted a better start for Notre Dame.
Almost near perfect. Notre Dame has scored on 4 of their 5 shots. Unbelievable job. 4 different goal scorers for this Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They have once again started on fire. They are up 4-0 against the #1 team in the nation.
Now, North Carolina's head coach, Jenny Levy, just took a timeout after Notre Dame made it 4-0 to start this ACC semifinal. It's the largest deficit this Tar Heels team has been down since last year's Final Four when they were losing to Boston College. What a start for Notre Dame. How have they done it?
It's been absolutely magical. Jackie Wollack has been an excellent distributor, 2 assists, 4 different goal scorers. MK Darty gets a score with this beautiful shot here. Wollack behind the cage, dancing free, gets it to Madison Ahern. Unbelievable, just team offense and excellent defense. We're showing the highlights of the offense, but the defense has frustrated UNC in their first few possessions.
And you talk about the defense, Sheehan. Well, on the flip side for UNC, I was just in the huddle with Phil Barnes, Jenny Levy's defensive coordinator, and he said it's all about the fundamentals on defense. We have to play better 1v1, and we've got to work together off ball to find those slides. Got to clean it up.
Well, for North Carolina, the players and the coaching staff, this is a position they have not been in all season. Unfamiliar territory. And Notre Dame, again, showing no signs of slowing down. Straight off the draw, a give and go, make it 5-0. They've gotten 3 draw control wins. They've scored on all of them.
Another unbelievable start for this Notre Dame team. They were absolutely on fire. They've continued their scoring streak. Fantastic draw control win. MK Doherty sprinting downfield. Completely beautiful transition goal. And the score goes to Doherty. She's keeping her stick up. Beautiful quick stick.
And MK Doherty got that initial draw control, and then she dished it to her friend, so nice little give and go. She's a playmaker for this Notre Dame team, and she had 7 draw controls against a really good Maddie Jenner, and that was probably one of the successes and keys from that game, was they were able to neutralize Maddie Jenner and win possession of off the draw.
You wonder if this style of play is sustainable. You know, what we saw in the quarterfinal, right? They just blew the doors off of Duke, winning that first quarter 8-2, winning the game 19-11. We said, well, they're gonna have to play like that to have a chance against North Carolina. Nobody thought it would start like this. A 5-0 lead for Notre Dame, and the Tar Heels answer right back. They win the draw, get it to Scotty Rose Brownie. Scored 5 goals in the quarterfinal, takes care of business here.
That whole play was set up with a draw control win. Excellent on the restart for Ali Mastriani. And Scotty Rose Brownie, who had the 5 goals in the quarterfinal, continues her scoring ways, drops that stick for a sidearm rip. Beautiful play, but a lot of the credit goes. There was Notre Dame went early, so it became UNC's ball, and Ali Mastriani, by taking that quick restart, really set that play up.
That's more like it for North Carolina.
That's the UNC team that we're used to seeing, basically scoring at will. But now they've dug themselves into a hole. 4 goals is extremely easy to come back from if you're a team with such high-powered offensive players like UNC. But the key is they're going to have to try to limit Notre Dame as well.
Starts in the draw. It'll stay with the Irish. MK Doherty has had a really strong start to this game.
Whether it's draw control wins, scoring, she uses her height extremely well. What's been impressive about Notre Dame is that they're scoring in so many different ways, with the assisted plays, the challenges, moving the defense.
This is Casey Choma midway through the shot clock. The lone all-ACC first-teamer for Notre Dame, although if they voted after the tournament, I think some second-teamers might have moved their way up the way the Irish have played this week here at home at Arlada Stadium. Wollack, bouncer, snuffed out by Marino. Battle for the ground ball won by North Carolina.
Great save by Taylor Marino. Wollack had a head of steam. She's got a really great first explosive step. Beautiful pass from Emma Trenchard.
Up to Elizabeth Hillman. This is Andy Aldave getting her first touch of the game. 2-time captain at Notre Dame, played 4 years for the Irish. The all-time leading draw controller in Notre Dame women's lacrosse history. And now wearing a North Carolina uniform, number 31 in white.
Such a dominant player for the Fighting Irish, opting to take her grad year at UNC, and she's been such a great addition.
Mastriani did well, spun through the double team. Yellow card coming out, and Mastriani will get a free position. It's Megan Scataro who has to sit. So if you're Mastriani, you have a decision. Do you go to goal on the free position and woman up, or do you pass out of it? 33 seconds left on the shot clock.
She's such a great scorer. I would go to goal if I was her, but she looks to be set up that she's going to take the pass.
That's what she does. Shot clock resets to 90, by the way. So North Carolina, woman up for 2 minutes, deciding they can try and manufacture a better look than the one Mastriani could have had.
Melissa Scanoni, number 50 in. She likes to shoot from out far.
Said they go inside. Scotty Rose Brownie couldn't control it, and now Dehan starts to clear for Notre Dame. This is the best defense I've seen any team in the country play against North Carolina.
Have not seen UNC struggle to score like this all season long. Emma Trenchard marking up Madison Ahern. So UNC has an extra defensive player because of the yellow card issued to Notre Dame. They're not opting to pressure out of the ball. And we'll often see teams do that. They have just the extra defender there, just clogging up space, but they're not trying to force Notre Dame into going to cage.
The Irish can just run down this woman up. 3 seconds separating, but by the time that expires, it would be even strength. That's their first turnover of the afternoon. North Carolina's got 20 seconds with a woman up. Back to even strength. Brooklyn Newman tried to go inside to Wurzberger. Foul came in.
Wurzberger holding her face. They're going to call it for a check across the body. No card being issued, but Wurzberger will get set up with an 8-meter.
From straight away, one-on-one with Dehan. Rears back and fires. Caitlin Wurzberger, usually the feeder of this North Carolina team, shows that she's got quite the shot as well. Great 8-meter.
She doesn't get to that 8-meter often, but when she does, she delivers. Beautiful scores, excellent placement. Love the power she generates. Look how she goes non-stick side against Bridget Dehan, having her reach all the way across her body. 27th goal this season for the sophomore.
This has been an impressive response from North Carolina after going down 5-0. 2 goals in the last 4 minutes and 33 seconds to find a foothold in this game. Something Duke never did in the quarterfinal. You know, Notre Dame came out, threw that first punch, and that was it. North Carolina seemingly weathering the storm in this first quarter, and now back to playing like the #1 team in the country has shown they can all season.
I'm surprised really both ways for both these teams. One, that Notre Dame is having such an electric start like they did in the quarterfinal. Didn't know if that was going to be able to happen again. And 2, the slow start for UNC. But this UNC team, they've got veteran leadership, so much talent.
And it's hard to believe, Sheehan, too, when you look at Notre Dame and their schedule in February, they had 4 straight losses. So if you told me then that they were going to be in this situation, I don't know if I would have believed you. 4 losses is hard to weather, but they're playing exceptional at the end of the season when it matters.
Opening up that season, losing to Michigan was a shock, and then a loss to Vanderbilt.
Marino makes another save. The one thing I would say about the February games is this was a really young team that lost a lot of grad students and seniors. Andy Aldave is one of them, now playing for North Carolina. So a young team that hadn't really played with each other a lot coming into this season grew over the course of February and March, and playing their best lacrosse when it matters most on a 4-game winning streak. They've locked up NCAA eligibility. I think eye test-wise, they've locked up a bid, win or lose, but they don't want to leave it up to the committee. They want that automatic qualifier by winning the ACC championship.
A win today would certainly lock that up. I think the pressure of just trying to get eligible has done great things to this Notre Dame team. They're leaving it all on the field. They're playing together.
It's a mentality shift.
Can't make any excuses. They were in survive or their season's over for such a long period of time.
And they've stayed in that mentality for this semifinal, trying to protect a 3-goal lead. 20 seconds left to shoot. Wurzberger curling around, finds Olivia Dirks, darts in, couldn't get the hands free. Dehan has it for Notre Dame. And the Irish will look to clear.
Just excellent defensive effort. I like the pressure that Notre Dame is putting on behind the cage on Wurzberger. It's making it very difficult for UNC to get comfortable.
And that defensive pressure, it's coming from number 25, Megan Scutaro, who got a yellow card just a few moments ago, but she wrote on that scribble pad, physical, not foul.
I like that.
Something like that. It was scribbled, but I got the gist of it.
And then they lift the pad up and wipe it away and then move on.
It's gone. Mistake amnesia.
Now the 5-8 start to this season is way in the rearview mirror. They've scribbled that, erased it away. And now a 3-goal lead, looking for more in the ACC semifinals against the top-seeded Tar Heels, the last remaining unbeaten team in the country. 10 seconds left in the quarter. Choma denied by Marino. She's really started to dial in her 4th save of the afternoon.
A huge stop for the Tar Heels to go into the second quarter.
Taylor Marino to Orton, top 25 nominee, all ACC first teamer. She's been tested. Notre Dame shot out of a cannon in our first semifinal. A 5-2 lead for the 5th-seeded Fighting Irish. What a start for the underdogs. Even though they're the home team hosting this ACC Women's Lacrosse Championship, the 5 seed entering a 5-2 lead over the top-seeded North Carolina Tar Heels. You know, entering this tournament, Sheehan, Notre Dame was on the way outside looking in. Lacrosse Reference giving the Irish just a 3% chance of making the NCAA tournament. Now after the win against Duke, 61.5%. If they were to beat North Carolina, hold on to this lead, it'd be 100%.
Totally. A win over the #1 team in the nation. And then also just all the good effects it has on your RPI by playing a top 10 team. And part of the reason they had a 3% chance entering into the tournament was they needed that tournament win to become over 500. To get 500, which is one of the criteria to get an at-large berth to the NCAA tournament. Both Notre Dame and UVA coming into this ACC championship tournament needing a win to have a hope at continuing their season.
A very similar start to the opening quarter against Duke in the quarterfinal. They threw the first punch in that game, got out to an 8-2 lead. Right now they control a 5-2 lead headed into this second quarter. And Christine Halfpenny's team, they are playing their best lacrosse at the right time. How are they doing it?
Complete team effort, and I think the energy and belief, they were really, you know, they're playing with the backs against the wall. You come to Notre Dame, you want to compete for an ACC championship, you want to compete in the NCAA tournament, and there was a good part of their season the last few weeks where they didn't know if that was going to be a reality. They've continued to win, string together wins, playing their best lacrosse in the quarterfinal game against Duke, and there's no hangover starting this game tonight. We have seen throughout the course of this year, though, the changing of quarters has changed momentum for different teams. So be interesting to see how Notre Dame continues. The start of the second quarter, 4 different goal scorers.
One of them's Madison Ahern. Got her hands free, but whizzed it wide the cage of Marino. Notre Dame started 5 of 6 shooting. Since then, they're 0 of their last 5. Marino's made 3 saves. She feels way more locked in now than she did at the beginning of this game. This is Maddie Howe. I think they called shooting space, even though she reversed.
There was a foul beforehand, so the referee held the yellow flag up. The whole bench yelled flag, which made Maddie Howe back out, so they just blew the play dead. Really smart play for the whole bench to yell flag, so then Howe didn't continue to go to cage. If she would have gotten a shot off, flag goes back in the pocket, and nothing, it's released.
Howe goes high, Marino there to meet it. Dana, I get a sense you're standing right in front of her. Taylor Marino is just locked in right now.
She is always locked in during warm-ups. She is just so solid in cage, and she has a lot of experience in cage. But that first quarter, you got to wipe that away if you're Taylor Marino. Being a goalie is pretty mental. I'm not a goalie, but you got to get in the zone.
Ball did cross the line.
They're saying
Will they count the goal?
They're saying the shot was released after the whistle was blown. So unfortunate break for UNC here, but Andy Aldave is going to be set to face her old goalkeeper, Bridget Dehan.
They've done it hundreds of times in practice over the years. The former Notre Dame captain now facing her old team and beats Dehan high. Andy Aldave makes it 3 in a row for North Carolina as the top-seeded Tar Heels continue to battle back.
Beautiful explosion off the 8-meter. You see her feet just evading the crease. You got to keep your feet and your whole body outside that crease area. She releases the shot. Beautiful score. Aldave all season long has given an extra spark to this UNC team. When they've struggled in draw control, they've all mixed her in. She just changes the tide of the game and gets a huge goal.
And we asked Coach Halfpenny in our coaches call, is it going to be odd to play Andy Aldave? Is it going to be odd to see her in a Caroline uniform on the Notre Dame field? And she had such high words to say about Andy. She was a 2-time captain at Notre Dame, was really that leader, and she was the constant for Notre Dame. And Coach Halfpenny is so happy that she's being successful at North Carolina, and it's just one big family. Lacrosse is a very small world.
Small world. They're enemies today. And yes. Aldave, as we said, is back to the draw control right now. So just trying to mix things up. But she has been that special ingredient this season. She's the all-time draw control leader at Notre Dame. Notre Dame MK Darty is able to come up with this one.
I was about to say, she's won more draws at Arlada Stadium than anybody in the history of the Irish's women's lacrosse program, and now trying to win them against this Notre Dame team.
The other impressive thing Notre Dame did against Duke, who has Maddie Jenner, who's phenomenal at the draw control, is Notre Dame outdrew Duke, and that was extremely impressive. Right now, they've got the edge on UNC as well. 7 draw controls to UNC's 3.
And not many people have been able to do that to UNC and also to Duke. So credit Notre Dame on their circle play. And it is the draw girl, but it's also those girls that you see standing around the circle. It is a 3v3 battle.
Notre Dame's gone 10 minutes scoreless. And Marino continuing to look comfortable. She's made 6 straight saves after Notre Dame scored on 5 of their first 6 shots. Marino has been a brick wall.
And the defense in front of her, they're making those adjustments. When I was in that quarter timeout with Phil Barnes, the defensive coordinator for UNC, he said you got to keep the ball out from behind. So you see on that next defensive possession, watch how they're hedging and they're making sure that the ball can't go behind, because that's where Notre Dame has been successful, operating from behind. So interesting strategy change, and it's really tripped Notre Dame up on those last few possessions.
It's a great chess match between these coaching staffs to make the in-game adjustments. Here's Ortega, been quiet today. Stinging the corner, Ali Mastriani pulls the Tar Heels within a goal.
Number 12, Ali Mastriani, ACC midfielder of the year last year. Beautiful flip play and the roll dodge takes extreme talent here. Look how wide open she is there, and she throws that little fake. It just causes D-Hand to pause for a moment. Beautiful placement of the shot. She does a little bit of everything for this Tar Heel team.
And she's really the two-way midi, true two-way midi. I think we say that a lot, but you know, what does that mean? To me, you're a triple threat. So you can dodge, you can feed, and you can cut. And Ali Mastriani is certainly all of those things in one.
Christine Halfpenny wants a timeout. Notre Dame started this game 5-0, but here comes North Carolina, 4 straight goals. We've got a heavyweight fight on our hands in the ACC Women's Lacrosse Championship semifinal. It was Notre Dame that threw the first punch, but boy, North Carolina has answered in a big way. 4 straight goals.
They've been extremely efficient on their offense. Mastriani gets us a Scotty Rose Brownie, a little pump fake, and they have just delivered, climbing themselves out of the hole. Andy Aldave with a huge 8-meter score, and the beautiful flip pass set up by Jamie Ortega. And Ali Mastriani is able to put one in to take them within 1 goal.
The Tar Heels have scored on 4 of their last 5 shots. Notre Dame still dominant in the draw control circle, 7-3 in the opening 10 draws. They stick with the former Irish 2-time captain Andy Aldave in the draw control circle. Kelly Dennis wins another, the sophomore out of Jupiter, Florida. Notre Dame has not scored since just under the 8-minute mark in that first quarter. So 12 minutes without a goal after scoring on 5 of their first 6 shots. North Carolina ramping up the pressure. Caused the turnover.
That was an unbelievable job. Rarely do you see an offensive player being forced back into the midfield area. Excellent pressure for UNC, getting possession back. They were down 5-0. They battled back. The momentum has swung back.
And Coach Halfpenny wants that momentum to swing back to Notre Dame. In the huddle, she said, we have to match their intensity. We can never let ours dip. Which I thought was an interesting point because it is such an emotional game, but it's also physical, and you've got to be able to ride the wave of some of those momentum shifts.
Dana, North Carolina went scoreless on their first 4 possessions offensively. What's changed?
They're moving the ball better, and they're taking better opportunities. I think when you can have some of those stops come from your defensive end, it does give you that momentum on offense. And we know they weren't going to sleep for much longer. You know, they're intense. They've got great players on the offensive end, and they just needed to get in that rhythm a little bit more, and you're seeing that more in the second quarter.
Ortega, great feed. The finish from Wurzburger, camping out on the doorstep, and it's all tied at 5.
The leaders for this UNC team have stepped up, starting with some excellent Taylor Marino saves, but Jamie Ortega, she takes the ball behind the cage, gets it to Caitlin Wurzburger for the finish. Those two have worked so great as a tandem together. And when you pass the ball from goal line extended, it's tough for a goalie, have to read that. The goalie's back is turned away. Their back is to the player you're feeding the ball to. Ortega, the career points leader for this UNC team. So dangerous because she can be a scoring threat and is an amazing assister as well.
And it's sort of roles reverse she, and you usually see Wurzburger behind the cage and Ortega in the 8, and I love when Ortega comes above goal line extended. I think she adds such a different look to that UNC offense.
Now, Jamie Ortega just 3 points away from tying Jen Adams' ACC record for most points in a career playing in the ACC. 2 assists today. Andy Aldave wins the draw. Notre Dame started this game on a 5-0 scoring run. North Carolina weathered the storm and has fired back with 5 of their own to tie it. Now looking for their first lead. Hillman draws shooting space. North Carolina 2 for 2 on 8-meter opportunities this afternoon. Hillman passes out of it. Mastriani. High heat, too much on it. Now it's Notre Dame's turn to weather the storm. North Carolina with all the momentum. They've scored 5 in a row, and they're looking for more.
Amazing how the momentum can shift back and forth.
Mastriani gets the hands free. There was a whistle, but they say play on.
That was a simultaneous shot along with the whistle, so that goes to the goalie's save. Watch the defensive pressure. Huge turnover that UNC caused on Notre Dame to set them up to get that tying goal. So it's been a complete team effort as they've climbed back.
Notre Dame offensively to start this game, shot out of a cannon again. So similar to that quarterfinal performance where they made 11 straight shots. Not quite that today. They started 5 of 6. Still pretty strong. Since then, 0 of 7. They missed their last 7. They've been scoreless for 15 straight minutes now. An entire quarter, really, when you think about it. Midway through the first quarter to now midway through the second.
Notre Dame not been able to score this entire second quarter, and UNC down 5-2 as they've been able to claw back goal by goal.
Maddie Howe curling around the cage, lost her footing. Marino comes up with the ground ball and will start the clear. She's really comfortable out of cage in the clearing game. Puts a pass right on the money to Hillman. Look out! North Carolina so dangerous in transition. And Scotty Rose-Growney will step up for an 8-meter with a great chance to give North Carolina the lead.
Beautiful passing sequence. I don't think Taylor Marino gets enough credit for her clearing ability. Does an amazing job finding her teammates downfield.
Dehan desperate for a save. Scotty Rose-Growney beats her. Weaved her way in and fires North Carolina in front for the first time this afternoon.
UNC has been cashing in on these 8 meters. Scotty Rose-Growney, one of the best in the business in finishing and scoring. She gets to the inside, gets it past Dehan. Unbelievable job. Look at the protection of her stick. Evading all the pressure, getting her hands free. Dehan comes all the way out of the crease area. Beautiful scoring. Notre Dame had the 5-0 lead. Did not look good for UNC, and they have coupled together with some great defensive plays, saves, 4 goals in 5 minutes and 31 seconds.
You say it all the time, Sheehan. Teams can erase leads in this sport so quickly. Just because you're down 4 or 5 goals does not mean you're out of this game. North Carolina has gone from 5 goals down to winning the game in a little more than 15 minutes.
The tide has turned. It's very interesting. I think Aldave, we've talked about her being that spark, was a big reason why. She's the one that opened up the second quarter scoring for this UNC team. They've moved her to the draw, and then they battled back since then. Her score off that 8-meter made the score 5-3.
Continues to dominate at the draw. It'll stay Tar Heels ball. 6 straight goals for the top-seeded Tar Heels. Notre Dame needs to find a way to end this run.
Impressive for UNC. They have not been down at all really this season. 4-0 was the biggest deficit they've had all year, and it was the largest deficit which they tied, which is being down 5 to BC in the Final Four last year, and they lost that game in the semifinals. So it doesn't bring back good memories for this Tar Heel team, but they battle back.
Scotty Rose-Growney again! Perfectly placed! Scotty Rose-Growney with a first-half hat trick, and it's 7 straight goals for North Carolina.
Unbelievable play and performance for Scotty Rose-Growney in this ACC championship, scoring in different ways. I love with her stick. She's so fluid with her stick and very loose. She brings it all the way back behind her shoulders. See how pumped up she is. Back-to-back scores.
Sheehan, you mentioned it, but that started from the draw control circle. That was Andy Aldave getting the ball on the ground, making it a 50-50 ball. You said it, but she really has been the spark, and it's leading to a lot of offensive production.
It is. You win those possessions, and then you're able to convert on them. We were talking about how Notre Dame was so efficient in their scoring to open up the first quarter, but UNC, 7 goals on 12 shots. And this UNC team, even though that the game against Pittsburgh in the first round wasn't, or in the quarterfinal round wasn't really in question ever, but it wasn't their best offensive performance. Paulina DeFatta, the keeper for Pittsburgh, had a sensational tournament. She had 18 saves in that UNC game.
Notre Dame earns possession. They need to cut this North Carolina run. 7 straight goals for the #1 team in the country, the #1 team in this tournament. If you're Notre Dame, no reason to panic. You're only trailing by 2 goals, but the way North Carolina has turned it on in this second quarter.
And North Carolina has made those defensive adjustments. You can see Emma Trenchard taking it away from Madison Ahern at X. They don't want the ball to go behind X. They want to force Notre Dame to operate from up top in their offensive set. And I think it's causing them a little bit of an issue.
Well, more than a little bit. Notre Dame's gone 17 minutes without a goal now. During that scoreless stretch, 0 of 7 shooting, 3 turnovers. Exactly what the Irish needed. Jackie Wollack delivers. Back within 1 and stops North Carolina's 7 straight goal scoring streak.
Wollack coming off a career high, 2 goals and 6 assists. Look how much room she covers. She starts all the way to the left-hand side of the field. She has literally not much of an angle at all. Marino's leaving just a few inches of space. Look where this ball goes, right above her shoulder. Marino dips down there, and the sliver of space just makes the bench erupt.
Wollack, the best game of her career against Duke in the quarterfinal, 8 points. Today, 1 goal, 2 assists. She's been the catalyst for this team.
So much energy. She was able to get so much separation. You have to credit the rest of the Notre Dame offense for giving her that time and room. She starts all the way on the left-hand side, and she's able to get all the way down, almost a goal line extended, without a double team or slide coming.
North Carolina continues to stick with Andy Aldave at the draw control circle. Scotty Rose Groundy scoops up the ground ball. What a luxury for North Carolina. I mean, you got one of the best draw control takers in the country in Ali Mastriani, and you can sub in Andy Aldave as a backup. Obviously, she's so familiar with what this Notre Dame team wants to do on the draw. She's the all-time leading draw controller in the program's history.
And which might be a little bit of gamesmanship. Put her up there knowing that everyone on this Notre Dame team knows who it is. Wurzburger's able to run that one out, so the possession will stay with UNC.
Geiersbach rings the pipe in, it goes in. Sam Geiersbach, so good attacking from that left side. An immediate answer for North Carolina.
Another excellent transfer pickup that UNC was able to get with Geiersbach. Had her career at Richmond. So dangerous. Coming around, left-handed player. We've seen her put a clinic doing inside rolls. This one she opts to take it, shooting topside. What a career. She was an amazing 367 draw controls at Richmond, 113 goals. Great addition to this UNC team, just giving them so much more depth.
And a different look on attack, Sheehan. You know, we talk about the draw circle and how versatile UNC is, but they're super versatile in their offensive end, and it is really, the conversation continues. You pick your poison with UNC, and it's not just on the offensive end, it's defensively at the draw, and she just adds such a great flair to this team.
You mentioned pick your poison. 8 goals scored by 6 different Tar Heels today. I don't know how you begin a scouting report against North Carolina because they can beat you just so many different ways.
You just have to play great team defense because each one has their own unique skill set. They share the ball so well. Rarely do you see a play on UNC's offense where you say, gosh, that was kind of a hog move. They should have passed that. Such great decision making. We've seen the other teams try to face guard certain players. Oftentimes, Jamie Ortega throughout her career has been face guarded, but then you have another player on the team that will step up.
Here's Hillman, plenty behind that, tons of power. Inches away from what would have been a terrific goal. A little more than 4 minutes left in this second quarter. Notre Dame got out to a 5-0 start. That has been totally erased and now trailing by 2. How do they go about punching back, Shan?
They just have to have some confidence right here. You see a little bit of hesitation in their clearing game. They're getting nervous when they see the pressure. Handle the pressure. They have to move Taylor Moreno. Moreno started a little bit slow. Credit that to some of the Notre Dame shots that were first taken, but she has made some excellent saves. 6 save performance already for Moreno, so you have to make her move.
And we asked Coach Halfpenny, what was the key in that game versus Duke? What'd you guys do for a shooting drill? And she just said, we have to shoot from the numbers down, and especially on a keeper like Taylor Moreno.
And she told us the game plan against Duke kept it real simple and just pumped them up, tried to create that contagious energy. They had that to start this game. You could feel it. It was palpable. Now it's all but evaporated in this second quarter. North Carolina,
and that's
going to go a woman up.
It looks like it. Yep, officials reaching their card for a yellow card. That's just a little frustration foul. Emily Knowles, number 1 in white for UNC, does a great job getting the ground ball outside their defensive end. And in transition, gets just cross-checked. And Casey Choma, who Notre Dame needs on the field, coming into this game with 55 goals on the season. She's just had 1 shot today, no goals.
Notre Dame, they have to be careful with the cards. They struggled with that in their last regular season game against Louisville, and it really can predict and affect the game if you get too many cards as a team and that penalty becomes unreleasable. So they've got to rein it in. There's a difference between being physical and fouling.
Aldave again. The former Fighting Irish makes her former team pay. Largest lead of the game for North Carolina.
Down 5-0. This UNC offense has found its groove. Andy Aldave, the grad student, with the beautiful finish. Woman up. Dana, you mentioned the card situation. Notre Dame with having 2. We saw how cards can really change the course of a game in Friday night's game with Syracuse. Syracuse got to a point where they had 4 and more cards. They ended up with 5 yellow cards in the game. They become some unreleasable penalties, those 2-minute penalties, and UVA was able to battle back. The game was tied at 11-11, and UVA was able to win that 17-13, and much of that was due to the card trouble that Syracuse got into.
And in my opinion, watching that game, some of those yellow cards were really emotional fouls. So you've got to be able to keep your emotions in check, especially in a heated game that is really close and competitive.
Much like the card that we just saw. We were at the midfield. Yes. It's not like it's on a scoring play.
North Carolina has scored 9 of the last 10 goals in this game. In the second quarter, they're shooting 7 of 11. Great pass from Rose Growney. The finish from Olivia Dirks.
Beautiful play, unselfishness on display here. Scotty Rose Browning, who's got the hot hand, she draws the double team, but then finds Olivia Dirks, and the change of level there is what's able to get her past Dehan. Watch Dehan drop, and she sees that. Dirks is able to put that one in. What a comeback.
I know they're the #1 team in the country, and we shouldn't be surprised. But the way North Carolina started this game, down 5-0, and to flip the switch just like that, to go from lackluster to now unbeatable. They've scored 10 of the last 11 goals. How do they do it?
Well, I mean, that's a difference. You know, we saw that the statistics show that this doesn't happen often to this UNC team. They're not trailing. Last time they were down like this has been against Boston College in last year's Final Four. And I'm sure there was talks in that huddle about, we don't want this to happen again. Jenny Levy's been very open with us all season long that they still feel the pain of that loss, losing in the semifinals last year of the NCAA tournament. So these players, they had to dig deep and change some things, stop the momentum of Notre Dame. They did that with some great defensive stops, and offensively, just working the ball around, half the goals being assisted for this UNC team.
They're also forcing turnovers, 4 Notre Dame turnovers in this quarter alone. It's allowed for them to really grab control of this game. And if you just tuned into the second quarter, you wouldn't believe that Notre Dame started on a 5-0 scoring run. Ortega, how does she weave through? So crafty, couldn't get the finish though.
Looked like a good check from afar. The officials are going to call a foul on that.
1 minute left in this second quarter. Coming up at halftime, you'll be with all ACC's Dallin Cuff and Rachel DeCecco, the Tewaaraton winner. They'll break things down. Look ahead to Boston College and Virginia, our second semifinal here in the ACC championship.
Possession clock is stopped, but the game clock is still running on that foul. Plenty of time to get a shot off.
Trying to squeeze it into Ortega. Notre Dame does have 15 seconds. They scored 5 goals in the first 7 minutes of this game. In the last 23 minutes, only 1 goal to show for it. Unless they can get one here, gonna have to heave it, and it's intercepted. North Carolina started this game down 5 goals, and yet they take a 4-goal lead into halftime.
What an unbelievable comeback for this UNC team. I was impressed with the start of Notre Dame, but the comeback for North Carolina is proving why they're the #1 team in the nation.
And Dana Boyle's down with Tar Heels head coach Jenny Levy.
Jenny, what did you figure out defensively to stop the Notre Dame run in that first half?
I just think we had to put a little bit more pressure on the ball. I thought we just needed to settle down. We were sliding, not recovering, giving them some really good looks. And, you know, credit them. They come out with a lot of emotion and a lot of, you know, fired up to beat us. So I thought we just needed to settle down and play better unit defense.
What does a player like Scotty Rose Growney give you in this type of matchup offensively?
Well, Scotty's a 5th year, and you know she's been in a lot of battles, and we need her presence today. We need her to step up as a 5th-year senior, and just excited to see her playing so well.
Thanks, Jenny. Jay?
Head coach of North Carolina, Jenny Levy. Her team down 5-0. Notre Dame looked unstoppable, but they flipped that switch like the best teams do, and they take a 4-goal lead into halftime. Semifinals during the ACC Women's Lacrosse Championship. It was Notre Dame that got out to that 5-0 run. She and Sarah Birch, Jay Alter with you. North Carolina does what a #1 team is supposed to do. They weather that storm. Down 5, they end up going into halftime up 4, so a 9-goal swing. How did they do it?
They were amazing. They battled back and forth. A lot of it was just team effort. Their offense was struggling, and Notre Dame was really hot with their scoring. But Taylor Marino made some big-time saves, and they came up with super plays like this. Watch the pressure. The triple team comes here. This caused turnover here, enables UNC to go down and up tying the game 5-5. We then started the comeback. Jamie Ortega, the beautiful assist to Caitlin Wurzberger. Phenomenal distribution of the ball, team offense, a lot of success, finding the corners in net. Great defensive effort as well. A slow start for the Tar Heels, but they have battled back.
Now, this was the largest deficit that they had faced all season long. A team that usually gets out to that early lead and takes care of business. Jenny Levy's team down 5-0 to start this game. Made a great adjustment. Taylor Marino, she really found her own, saving 6 of the last 7 shots on goal. And now North Carolina in the driver's seat to start this second half. And one thing to remember, if the Tar Heels take care of business, they're the top seed, so they will host, travel from South Bend back to Chapel Hill. They will host the ACC championship game 6 days from now.
Which is a huge benefit to have that hosting as a carrot to host the ACC championship. Limits the travel for that host team, which makes life a lot easier, especially as a lot of these teams are into the final exams, to not have to go on the road again.
A big storyline has been Andy Aldave, who played 4 years here in South Bend for Notre Dame, the all-time draw controller in Irish history. Scored a goal, has been in the draw. Will use it her grad year to play for North Carolina. Christine Halfpenny told us she thinks that Aldave is actually the missing piece for this North Carolina team. She's proven to be that today.
Halfpenny giving a ton of praise to her former player, just saying what a great leader she was. As much of a dominant player she was for Notre Dame, she was an excellent leader, and she's brought that to UNC.
Huge save for Bridget Dehan, trying to set the tone in this third quarter, but she lost it. And North Carolina's there to scoop it up and score. I think it was Mastriani in perfect position on the doorstep to make Notre Dame pay. That's a backbreaker to start this third quarter.
Not the way Notre Dame wanted to start, for sure. Bridget Dehan comes up with a big-time save. Mastriani gets that stopped. Ball is in the air. Ali Mastriani, right place at the right time with the finish. It seemed like Notre Dame could do no wrong to start this game, and UNC now getting a bit of their own magic.
When I spoke to Coach Halfpenny coming out of the huddle at halftime, she said, we just have to play fast, but we also have to play smart. We really took our foot off the pedal in that second quarter, and she's glad it wasn't the fourth quarter. And she said, when we go half speed, that's when those turnovers start to happen. That's when those mental mistakes have to happen. So they've really got to lock in this third and fourth quarter if they want to pull out the dub.
They definitely have to start getting back to that offensive rhythm that we saw. But a lot of that, I mean, I really have to give credit to UNC. I thought that they started out extremely slow, and then they would just, Notre Dame was not able to stop them. UNC putting up pressure all over the field.
It was less Notre Dame taking their foot off the gas and more North Carolina moving their foot off the gas.
But they didn't look rattled, which I'm interested to hear, Dana, what your thoughts were down the sideline, listening to the UNC huddles. Did they seem nervous a bit being down 5-0?
Phil Barnes is like cool, calm, and collective. You know, they were struggling on defense in that first quarter especially, and he just said we have to stick to the fundamentals, and that really is what it's all about, fundamentally on defense and offense. If you just play your game and just settle in, good things will happen, and that's what we saw in the second quarter from UNC.
Yeah, usually in a game like this where there's such a momentum shift, you look for that turning point. And for North Carolina, you know, down 5-0, I can't really point to a turning point other than they just played a lot better, never panicked, stayed calm, and just started playing the way that we've seen them play all season long. And now, you know, second quarter on, they are proving why they are the lone unbeaten team left in the nation.
And I do think it's surprising, Jay, because when you are a team like UNC and you're up so much, do you get rattled when you're down? And I don't think so, based on Andy Aldave's goal.
Aldave again. That's a hat trick against her former team. And now North Carolina doubling up Notre Dame 12-6.
Andy has been a difference maker today. A lot of stars for this UNC offense. Wurzburger from behind the cage where she's so dangerous. Aldave drops actually that ball, which I actually think gives her a benefit. The defense has to adjust, figure out, do I go for the ground ball right here? Look at Dehan, she's gonna look downward too, but then Aldave picks it right back up. Dehan's off, out of position, and she gets the score. When you talk about some of the momentum changes and how UNC battled back, I have a couple goals that have been starred for me throughout the course of this game. The first one being when Aldave opened up the second quarter to get the 8-meter opportunity. And then the other one was when she had a draw win, when they moved her to the draw control right after she scored. UNC was able to get possession, and then they came down and scored.
Timeout, Christine Halfpenny. Notre Dame in trouble. North Carolina scored 12 of the last 13 goals in this game. It's semifinal Sunday here in South Bend. ACC Women's Lacrosse Championships, and North Carolina up on Notre Dame right now, 12-6. Still to come on ACC Network. Charlotte North and Boston College taking on the Cinderella story, the 6th seed Virginia Cavaliers. There they are, looking on at the first semifinal. If they play like they did against Syracuse on Friday night, they've got a great chance to beat Boston College. Another
such excellent performance by this UVA team. Their backs were against the wall, much like Notre Dame's, coming in to start the quarterfinal. A huge performance against Syracuse. Rachel Clark, the freshman, was amazing. Unbelievable. Ashley McGovern was phenomenal too, 4 goals. UVA had that really fast start. They went up 5-0 on Syracuse. So it'll be a great battle for the second semifinal game against BC, the reigning national champion, and UVA.
North Carolina scored 12 of the last 13 goals in this game. Notre Dame's 5-0 lead feels like a distant memory. Dana Boyle, you were just in the Christine Halfpenny timeout. What's she telling her players?
There's a lot of passion in there. I think I'm ready to step in a Notre Dame uniform. But you said it's not one play that's going to bring us back in this game. We have to do the little things really well, but we have to go top speed. And something that stood out to me was we're making the first defensive play, but then we're not making the next play. So we're making the stop, but we're not getting the ground ball to transition it into our offensive end.
North Carolina 3 for 3 on free positions today. Wareheim will redo this after the foul came in.
Dana, that's like how we saw that last goal for UNC. They made the great defensive stop. Yes. They're not able to come up with the goal, with the ground ball, which led to the UNC goal.
Wareheim missed it. Ricocheted off Geiersbach, and Dehan can clear. Notre Dame has only attempted 4 shots since the end of the first quarter. Think about that.
It's crazy with how fast they started coming off.
North Carolina dominated the second quarter, 8-1 to grab control of this game, and they are showing no signs of letting go of it. Jackie Wollack. Irish desperate for a goal. Madison Ahern picks out Choma. Double team comes in. Brooklyn Walker-Welsh, the star freshman, had it for a moment. Choma did a great job to battle back.
It was a great first defensive effort. Looked like it was going to be a turnover, but Choma's able to hold on to possession, draw the foul. They place her back at the 12-meter. Choma was electric in that quarterfinal game. She's so dangerous to cover when she cuts through the 8-meter, so credit the UNC defense for marking her tightly.
Maddie Howe, big collision. They're going to tag Elizabeth Hillman for the foul. It's a yellow card as well.
Hard collision. So this might be the break that Notre Dame needs right now. They'll go warming up. Watch the extension of the arms and across the body. And a shaft of the stick breaking too, which looks super aggressive, but they actually are relatively somewhat easy to break. But still, a lot of contact on that play.
You've snapped a few in your day?
I did not personally, but
Sheehan was the one breaking sticks on defense.
But overly aggressive play, so Hillman will be out for up to 2 minutes.
Here's how. Notre Dame desperate for a goal, and she doesn't go to goal. Notre Dame scored on 5 of their first 6 shots, and then Taylor Marino's really settled into this game, showing why she's one of the best in between the pipes in the country.
Love how she's been able to reset. She had that one goal that just kind of trickled in, a couple she wanted back, and she's been able to regroup and stifle this Notre Dame offense.
6 saves from Marino. North Carolina so disciplined defensively, even a woman down.
They're doing an excellent job covering the cutters.
Madison Moat, bouncer off the pipe, and Gabby Hall has it for North Carolina. That's probably been the biggest change. Dana's did a good job pointing it out as well. North Carolina defensively just so disciplined. They just seem a lot more together, dialed in since that 5-0 Notre Dame start.
We saw some of the plays in the first quarter when Notre Dame was just going to goal at will. There was some miscommunication where defenders are communicating someone to slide, but that wasn't actually happening. So they completely have regrouped, gone back to the fundamentals.
And there's been a lot more communication on the defensive end too. I think, that's something that's important. It's coming from Taylor Marino, but it also has to come from the players defensively that are in front of her, and they've seemed to be more cohesive in that second quarter, and especially in this third quarter here.
Ooh, just a little too high on that pass.
Back to even strength, though. They did successfully kill the woman up opportunity. And Notre Dame scored 5 goals in the opening 7 minutes. In the 29 minutes that followed, just 1 goal, 1 of 9 shooting. And now they've just lost their confidence.
Just seems that extra hesitation. Well, look at the ride here, the great defensive pressure. It's going to stay with Notre Dame. They're going to call a foul.
And I know we talk about Jamie Ortega scoring a lot, but I think she is almost even more impressive in the ride and her ability to really fight till the final 30 to really help her team. I just think those are the hustle plays that, don't get in the stat book, but are really important and sort of make her that complete attacker.
It's great when you have attackers that can score, but you need them as that first line of defense. So she is a complete all-around player, the real deal package.
Yeah, North Carolina has 12 goals. Jamie Ortega has none of them.
She's added in a couple assists, but you can see she's not forcing things. She's letting the game come, helping out in different ways, creating room. She gets a lot of the defensive focus. Casey Choma still held scoreless for this Notre Dame team. She was tied with the goals for this Notre Dame offense.
Right on cue, Choma finally breaks through. Boy, did Notre Dame need that goal in a big way.
Choma's been silent. They need her involved. The sideline loves it. Madison Ahern, the other leading goal scorer for this Notre Dame team, gets it into Choma, and she is very nicely covered here. So great defense by Emily Knowles. Stays positioning, her stick is up. And Choma's just able to fire that in over top to get her first score of the game. Just felt like when we started this game, it was make it, take it for Notre Dame. They couldn't miss when they came down on their offensive end. 10 shots in that first quarter, just 4 in the second quarter, and that's when UNC was able to take charge. MK Darty for Notre Dame has been excellent on the draw circle today.
Can the Irish turn that Choma goal into some sustained momentum here in front of their home fans hosting this tournament? Christine Halfpenny said, we've been trying to host this thing for the last 8 years, finally getting the opportunity for the Women's Lacrosse Championship to be held in Notre Dame. Trying to string together back-to-back goals.
That was a almost really dangerous check there by Hillman. I'm surprised the officials didn't whistle that. Didn't make contact, but aggressive swipe.
You always say you often don't have to make contact, it's the intent, but it didn't end up mattering. Notre Dame, back-to-back goals. Exactly what the Irish needed, back within 4.
Jackie Wollack, she can do it all. Her separation, again, we've seen a couple of these great scores from Notre Dame. Not much of an angle here. Brooklyn Walker-Welch pushing her to the outside. That one goes 5-hole. And you can see Taylor Reno, she wants that one back.
I've been so impressed with Jackie Wollack. She's able to sustain that first bump, legal bump by Brooklyn Walker-Welch, but she's so strong. We said this in the last game against Duke, but she's just one big muscle, and she's such an emphasis for this Notre Dame team. She does such a good job.
Notre Dame still has the edge in draw control wins. Great takeaway for Andy Aldave, winning it to herself.
Aldave, 3 goals, 3 draw control wins against her former team. 2-time captain. A lot of these players look up to Aldave. Such a great leader, now bringing that leadership to Chapel Hill in North Carolina. Brooklyn Newman just missed it wide. Geiersbach tried to get the hands free. Late whistle comes in.
Official call was a hold on that. They'll put Geiersbach at the first inside hash. You're put at that hash mark closest to where the foul occurred, and the offending player goes 4 meters behind.
And this is a great hash if you are a lefty.
Just lost control of that one. The first free position missed shot for North Carolina today. With 5 minutes to go in this third quarter, Notre Dame trying to get back into this game. They've scored the last 2.
What a cause turnover play. That's Andy Aldave on the sideline with the check.
Just when you think the Irish are going to gain some momentum back, they give it away.
I think UNC's done a very nice job of that throughout the game, and it started a lot with the defensive ride. We've seen some turnovers, the pressure in the midfield. They've taken Notre Dame out of their rhythm. Six calls turnovers for UNC.
Mastriani weaving her way through. Intercepted, great read, MK Doherty, off and running. Up to Ahern, with a full head of steam, never got the angle. Great transition defense from Emma Trenchard. What a goal! Hannah Doherty unleashes a flamethrower, and it's 3 straight goals for Notre Dame.
It starts with the turnover. came dirty. She's been everywhere all over the field. Draw control wins, huge ground balls, transitions down the field. Ahern gets it into Dorney. I don't know how she's able to handle that and unleashes the fire. Fantastic score, 3 goals in 3 minutes and 18 seconds, and you can just see the bench is back with life.
Timeout, Jenny Levy. This is super impressive for Notre Dame. Yes, you're still trailing by 3 goals, but I mean, North Carolina had scored 12 of 13 goals. 12-1 run. To find it in yourself to answer back, really impressive.
They are been full of fight the end of this season for Notre Dame, trying to get to over 500. Huge upset win in the quarterfinal game. And when things didn't look good, they didn't give up the fight. So they've dug deep. You've seen this game of runs. Notre Dame with the 5-0 run to start. Then North Carolina scoring 12 in the next 13. And Notre Dame now with the momentum on a 3-0 run of their own.
I just think when North Carolina goes on that 12-1 run, every team, everybody watching is that, well, this game's over. Well, Notre Dame didn't think that. Here they come. Still plenty of time in this game. You're only down 3 goals. Still in the 3rd quarter, little less than 4 minutes left in it.
This is a huge, the 4 minutes to go in this final quarter, in this 3rd quarter are huge, the way to end this. So for Notre Dame, they've got to just start piecing things together. They've been successful in winning those draw controls. They need to keep on pushing the tempo offensively.
The Irish with great balance today. 7 different players have taken a shot, and they've all scored. That's taking a page out of North Carolina's book.
Both teams with 6 assisted goals.
There's Marcus Freeman, first-year head coach for Notre Dame football. Busy week for him. NFL draft. He was there watching his players get taken. Defensive coordinator now becoming the head coach on the route on the women's lacrosse program. Notre Dame hosting for the first time the ACC Women's Lacrosse Championship, going punch for punch with #1 North Carolina, the last remaining unbeaten team in the nation. The former Fighting Irish captain, Andy Aldave, stays in the draw control circle. Facing off against her former teammate, Kelly Dennis, in the draw 1 by North Carolina. Trying to put a halt to this 3-0 Notre Dame run. The Irish stay aggressive. Madison Moat with the cause turnover. This is how Notre Dame started this game. You can feel that energy come back.
They've had some excellent takeaway checks. It's hard to have a good, clean check in women's lacrosse. A lot of them get whistled for being over-aggressive or into the body. It's a beautiful takeaway. Check it down cleanly in transition.
Dana, have you felt that energy shift on the sideline?
Yeah, I'm joining the bench. I'm going to join in on the sideline celebrations the next time. And they celebrate not just a goal, but on that nice, clean check. Players are jumping up and down. There's an injured player sitting. She got an ACL, and she's kicking her feet, the healthy one. There's so much energy, and they celebrate every little thing, whether it's a caused turnover, a ground ball. They're just all in. This team has so much belief.
Here's Wollack. Has a step. Too much on it. Ahern off the restart. Working on Emma Trenchard. "20 seconds left on the shot clock. They go to the grad student, Maddie Howe. Bouncer just missed, inches away. They're going to have 10 seconds to shoot. Dorney, who just scored the last goal, finds Choma. Couldn't get the hands free. But this will be a shot clock violation. Emma Trenchard runs it out.
What a little change of direction, gets her defender to run by her. Taylor Marino, she likes to carry the ball upfield, bring the clear up.
It's a big stop for North Carolina defensively.
7 saves for Taylor Marino. We've got a player down. Is that Jackie Wollack?
Jackie Wollack,
It
yes.
is. The junior out of Ridgewood, New Jersey, who's been a star in this tournament. 2 goals, 6 assists against Duke. 2 goals, 2 assists today. Stays down now, laying on her back. Her teammates huddling up. Less than 2 minutes to go in this third quarter.
Hate to see players go down. Wollack has been so instrumental for this Notre Dame team. She's making her way up right now.
Getting helped into the locker room. Take another look. Oh, it's that ankle.
Yeah.
That left ankle. You could argue Wollack's been the best player of this tournament for Christine Halfpenny's team.
2 goals, 6 assists in the quarterfinal win. 2 goals, 2 assists today. But we've been seeing how her ability to separate from the defense. Her last drive from up top didn't score on, but that was an excellent take. So they're going to miss her. Hopefully she can get back.
Notre Dame defense has been super aggressive. 18 fouls committed compared to North Carolina, just 4. Trying to close this third quarter strongly. Foul called off ball.
Olivia Dirks is going to get possession.
Another impact transfer coming in from Penn State. Big Ten midfielder of the year a year ago. She settled in nicely in Chapel Hill. Charges in and scores. Perfectly placed from Olivia Dirks. And North Carolina restores their 4-goal advantage.
Watch how she goes in. She actually moves to the right-hand side a bit and does a little pump fake. Dehan leaving that whole entire far side open. But interesting take here. Almost looks like Dehan wasn't ready for that. Maybe she thought she was going to go behind the cage.
That's an incredible shot, Sheehan. It almost looks like she took away her own angle, but there was so much space on that left side of Bridget Dehan. That's just such a precise shot.
Yeah, most players taking that, especially with the hand and the stick in their right hand, would have cut through to the center. You still have your defender that's not on your stick side, so she had room to go into the center. Instead, she goes to the right side. Maybe she was thinking to go behind, then she saw how open the net was, but nonetheless, beautiful score. We talk about how important 8 meters are in this game, and UNC has really capitalized, scored 4 of their 5 8-meter attempts. It's going to be an alternate possession. The ball did not go above the shoulder, so this one is going to go North Carolina's way. Actually, I think the officials are going to discuss whose possession it should be. So alternate possession is going to be Notre Dame's ball.
Trailing by 4, 1 minute left in this third quarter. Another stoppage in play.
Looks like they need to start the shot clock. They did not start it on that, so the officials will convene.
Well, why would you? There's only 48 seconds left.
Right.
Shot clock should be off.
The shot clock should be off if that's the case.
Choma draws the contact. Trying to cut the lead to 3 at the end of this third quarter. give Notre Dame some belief. Not a great angle from Choma, scores anyway! Does not matter! Casey Choma showing why she's an all-ACC first-teamer. Wow!
Well, that was both surprising and super impressive. This is not a shot that people usually take from that hanging hash mark. But when you're a goal scorer like Choma and you see the space, you take that shot. What a score! I think she surprised herself, too. That's unbelievable. Those hanging hash marks usually, and maybe the defense wasn't ready for her to charge in like that. Still had plenty of time left on the game clock. Could have set that up. But that's why those 8 meters are so important. You need to practice every single hash mark because it's not like taking a free throw where you're at the same position each time. Each hash mark is a different angle. Some you might want to take with your right hand, some you might want to take with your left. The way you run it will be a little bit different. It's a real craft.
And teams practice that at every practice. We used to practice at the end of every practice, and we had to make a certain amount because they do count, especially in big games like this.
Notre Dame wins the draw. 30 seconds to add another goal at the end of this third quarter. Irish have scored 4 of the last 5 in this game. I'd get it right back to number 3 in blue. Choma's feeling it. 2 goals this quarter. Madison Moe takes it herself. Great save, Marino. Choma. Marino again. The double save to finish this third quarter and protect this 3-goal lead for UNC. 9 saves on the afternoon for Marino. And the Tar Heels 15 minutes away from advancing to the finals, which would be in Chapel Hill. Notre Dame started this game with a 5-0 lead. Since then, Taylor Marino has really turned it on. 9 saves, and now her Tar Heels take a 3-goal lead into this fourth quarter.
She has been sensational, just coming up with big-time stops. Her technique is phenomenal. I love her clearing ability. She's a real reason that this UNC team was able to get momentum and come back and coming up with some clutch saves at the end of that quarter. She had 16 saves in the regular meeting versus Notre Dame.
And you have to think, Sheehan, having a goalkeeper who's 22 years old versus 18 has to really help you in this type of matchup. And she's so locked in. Her teammates, they call her Grandma.
She's been around for a while. 2-time ACC tournament MVP in 2018 and 2021. She redshirted that 2017 season at UNC. And 2018, she became a breakout star.
And something else that's important to note is Jackie Wollack, she's back on the field for Notre Dame. She was working on some drills with the trainer, making sure she can still run, so I'm sure Notre Dame's happy to have her back on the field.
That's amazing news. That fall did not look good. So great to see her back.
Notre Dame's defense would love to get Wollack in the offense. The ball back, way over the cage of Dehan. Ortega there to back it up. Notre Dame's defense is going to have to play perfect to this fourth quarter. Ortega tried to connect with Hillman. Huge ground ball. Those 50-50s make a difference. It was Kelly Dennis who scooped it up.
And those are those possessions that UNC was getting the better of Notre Dame earlier in this game. So huge ground ball pickup. UNC's missed the last 5 shots they've taken. It's got to be a big boost for the Notre Dame team to see Jackie Wollack get back onto the field as well.
MK Doherty down the right alley. Bouncer had a good angle, and Howe couldn't corral it.
Notre Dame's not happy with that. That looked like it deflected off the shot. I thought that should be Notre Dame ball. Official signaled to UNC, but I think they're going to discuss.
And you think it should be Notre Dame
I think it
ball?
should be Notre Dame ball. There was a shot, and it deflected off her shot, her stick. She didn't have possession for it.
So it will be Notre Dame ball. Maddie Howe off the restart. Great opportunity to make it a 2-goal game. Wollack, her first touch since limping off in the third quarter. Madison Moe, great hesitation, and bounces it home. The senior strikes to make it a 2-goal game in this ACC semifinal.
What a take here. Starts with a ground ball on the defensive end. Madison Moe, the shifty footwork there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white jerseys. Moe just gets enough separation. Excellent dodge. It's almost like the defense just froze right there. They weren't sure which direction she was going to go, so they gave her too much room and didn't connect stick to stick. Shifty moves from up top, and Mote's able to get that score. Beautiful high bouncer.
Coach Halfpenny in that last quarter timeout said, believe that the opportunities will be there and it's going to open up. You just have to go full speed, and that's a perfect example, Sheehan. There was a little miscommunication in the UNC offense, and Notre Dame capitalized and took advantage of it.
I think it's one thing to say it, but the way North Carolina was playing, you just didn't think it was going to happen. Tar Heels had scored 12 out of 13 goals during the middle of this game. Now it's a 5-1 Notre Dame run.
This game is a series of runs, and you're seeing once again the fight that Notre Dame showed us in the quarterfinal game. They're playing like if they lose, the season's over. They started the game super hot, they went very silent, and then have clawing their way back. We'll see if North Carolina can answer.
And to be fair to Notre Dame, it could be, right? You'd go in with a loss 9-9. You hope you've done enough, you think you've done enough, but there's no guarantee you will get that at large. Huge stop, Taylor Moreno. Her 10th save of the afternoon. That could be the biggest, because if that goes in, the Irish have all the momentum in this game.
Moreno's so strong. She was the goalie that held the saves record for the ACC championship tournament with 33 saves. Paulina DeFata from Pitt, the grad student, broke that save record, 37 saves in the first round game. But you're right, Jay. Right now is crunch time, trying to get into the NCAA tournament, building the resume. And the Notre Dame win in the quarterfinal and UVA's win in the quarterfinal is going to cause issue for a lot of those bubble teams. So
that pass deflected by Notre Dame. Shot clock should not have reset.
Officials meeting to try to get this right.
It was not a change of possession, so the shot clock getting reset to 90 is incorrect.
So back down to 39 seconds.
Dirks lost her footing.
She's
Kelly Dennis trying to scrap it out.
She's falling a lot today on the turf, so sometimes when you're thinking about your move a little bit too far in advance, you can get your feet tripped up.
Here's Jamie Ortega, hasn't scored today. Off to Scotty Rose Browning. Can shoot both righty and lefty.
A lot of contact.
Now there's 4 seconds left on the shot clock. On a card. So not just a free position, but a yellow card. And that'll reset the shot clock to 90.
That'll go to 90. Yellow card will do that. And now North Carolina will be a woman up for up to 2 minutes. Watch this. The contact of the head. So number 44 for Notre Dame, Keelan Schlageter, will be sidelined for up to 2 minutes. Now this is Notre Dame's third yellow card. The next yellow card, the fourth yellow card, becomes an unreleasable 2-minute penalty. So Notre Dame's got to rein in the play now. Notre Dame 20 fouls to UNC's 5. Sometimes that stat can be a little bit misleading depending on what the fouls are, but right now Notre Dame has 3 cards. UNC just has 1 to their name, team total. Melissa
Scanoni into the game, number 50 in white. Woman up specialist for North Carolina. She's got a lefty cannon, Dana.
She does. We had the radar gun on her pregame, and 81 miles per hour.
So you don't want to let her hands get free.
81, that is so fast.
The first one was 80, second one was 81, so equally both are impressive.
And consistent.
Yes. Top corner, she loves the top cheddar.
That's a huge takeaway.
Oh.
Timeout, Notre Dame. The Irish will have 70 seconds to kill to get back to even strength. The 5 seed of this tournament fighting, going punch for punch with the undefeated Tar Heels, 2-goal game. The ACC Women's Lacrosse Championship began with 9 teams. We are down to just 4. And 4 teams, at the beginning of this, they were comfortably in the NCAA tournament, win or lose. Both Virginia and Notre Dame, they needed a win in that quarterfinal even to become NCAA tournament eligible. Now you look at their resumes. Do you think they've done enough to get in?
I think Virginia, if you put them head-to-head, they get the nod right there. What's going to come back to haunt Notre Dame is the loss to Michigan, who didn't make the Big Ten tournament. The only top 4 teams where Big Ten get in, so that Michigan loss is going to come back to haunt them, the Virginia Tech loss and Vanderbilt loss. So when you compare them both, it's very tough. There's 14 at-large bids. So there's a chance, and I think they've done a very good job this season, but it's going to be a tight finish. You have teams like Hopkins who are battling for their life. Same thing, that made it in the NCAA tournament, that won the last 2 games against Ohio State and Penn State. They're going to be thrown into the mix with teams like Notre Dame and Virginia trying to fight for some of those last spots.
The one way you can guarantee your way in, erase this 2-goal deficit. If they beat North Carolina, that's it. They're in.
They're in. That's a huge win. And with the strength of schedule with the ACC, that really helps you. The committee is going to look at that RPI, the strength of schedule.
And Notre Dame successfully kills the woman-up opportunity. Even strength for 15 seconds now. Trying to make it a 1-goal game. Casey Choma, 2 goals already to her name. 5 seconds to shoot. Notre Dame has to hurry. Madison Moat. It was a hard take, but a shot clock violation. Great defense from North Carolina.
Moat's slow to get up there. Excellent defensive stop. Emma Trenchard charging downfield. Great clearing play to Julia Dorsey.
And to finish off that Virginia conversation, Virginia taking on 2-seeded Boston College to come. If they were to win that game, same logic, right?
Yes.
You move from the bubble to comfortably into the field.
I think that would assuredly get them in.
North Carolina's only taken 1 shot this quarter, yet to score. Jamie Ortega scoreless for the game. There's Brooklyn Newman. Patient Tar Heels attack with a 2-goal lead, trying to protect it. Newman fighting through contact. Aldave there to back it up, and she threw it away.
What a race to finish.
Notre Dame ball.
Yep, great play there. Kelly Dennis charging through. They played to that first white line you see on the sideline. This is where Notre Dame has struggled a bit in their clearing game. A little bit of hesitation on the clear. Great check. You cannot hesitate. When you're clearing the ball, you have to advance. Once you hesitate, you're basically dead in terms of the clear. You're going to come up with a turnover. Notre Dame is able to get that successfully over. Like them to see them carry the ball with more confidence.
Or switch the fields. I think that also helps in the clear game, too, if you switch the fields from one end to the other. But you're right, Shane, you can't hesitate because that UNC ride, they will swarm you.
Once they sense fear and you start retreating backwards, that's when the defense tries to charge. They almost came up with a turnover. Wollack looks great.
That ankle seems A-OK. Jackie Wollack charging through the North Carolina defense. And the junior makes it a one-goal game.
Unbelievable take. Look at the isolation play here. Excellent job. Brooklyn Walker-Welch comes in for the slide. Wollack's able to get that off before she's able to collapse inside.
You would never know that she went off in the third quarter limping. Had to be helped off by the trainer. Couldn't even walk off under her own power. Third goal today. Monster all tournament long, her 13th point.
It's the acceleration, Jay, you're right. She was doing drills on the sidelines before the trainer said it's okay for you to go in, but it's the acceleration and her ability to get away from her defenders in a very short amount of space that really impresses me from the junior.
And she doesn't look slowed down a bit. When she went down, she was down hard on the turf. Wasn't sure if it was a lower body injury. We saw the replay, looked like to be the ankle, big tweak.
Talk about a game of runs. Notre Dame starts 5-0 lead, then North Carolina, you thought buried them. 12 of the next 13 goals scored by the Tar Heels. And what does Notre Dame do? They answer right back, 6-1 run. And we've got a one-goal game with 6 minutes and 32 seconds left in regulation.
Possession is going to be everything. These draw controls matter. Notre Dame with the two draw advantage, 15 to UNC's 13. Andy Aldave in white, number 31, was the star at Notre Dame throughout her 4-year college career, taking her grad year at UNC.
Scotty Rose Growney draws shooting space. Already with 3 goals today.
We've seen Scotty Rose Growney score on these 8 meters. She does an excellent job protecting her stick, getting to the inside. 86 seconds left on the possession clock. See if she will try to pass out of this or take it inside. She's got a great angle.
One-on-one with Bridget Dehan. Here goes Scotty Rose Growney. Hesitates, decides not to shoot.
Smart move. When she rolled back, she was under pressure, so great idea not to force that.
Great save by Bridget Dehan. Now trying to get the ground ball.
She's got to hustle back in there.
New shot clock for North Carolina after the Dehan save. Notre Dame is out of timeouts. North Carolina has 1.
It should have been reset to 60 seconds. I don't know why it reset to 90. I think
You're right. That was a rule change this year. North Carolina gets a little more breathing room. 2-goal lead now following the Dehan save.
shot clock didn't matter. They got that shot off in plenty of time. Watch this. Scotty Rose Growney gets to the center of the field. Again, what she does so well is the looseness of her stick. She's so fluid. She drops that stick low, releases about hip level. Beautiful placement. Really enjoy watching this 5th-year senior play. 9th goal in this ACC championship tournament.
And I love the way that UNC is matching the intensity of Notre Dame. Notre Dame goes down and scores, comes up with a big cost turnover. UNC's matching the intensity and shifting the momentum. It's been bouncing back and forth.
A game of inches. Bridget Dehan makes the save, but Notre Dame can't win possession following the save. We've been even on shots, 28 apiece. North Carolina a 2-goal lead. 5 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. ACC semifinal #1 coming down to the wire between Notre Dame and North Carolina. Following this game, we've got Boston College and Virginia.
Madison Ahern with the ball, 1 goal, 3 assists.
Here's Maddie Howe. Pulls it out. Midway through the shot clock, Howe creates some space. What a save, Taylor Marino. Her 11th of the afternoon. It's similar to Dehan on the other end. Makes the save, but can't get the clear. Notre Dame reloads.
They're looking for the isolation up top. MK Doherty has more room.
Working against Emily Knowles. Ahern against Trenchard. One of the best defenders in the ACC. What a pass from Ahern, even better save. Marino there. She has come up clutch time and time again, Taylor Marino.
I love that she makes that initial save and then immediately helps her defense out, gives Emily and Knowles an outlet play. That's such a heads-up move from a veteran player. Makes the save, does the hard work, and then tries to help her teammate out even more.
She's all business. We've zoomed in on her underneath the helmet. You can see her eyes locked and loaded. Doesn't get overly emotional.
3 saves in this 4th quarter alone, 12 for the afternoon. Now Notre Dame's defense needs a stop.
Scotty Rose Growney for UNC's had the hot hand. 4 goals on 4 shots, 1 assist.
Jamie Ortega in attack mode, yet to score today. Flips it off for Rose Growney. 25 seconds left to shoot. Geiersbach, the lefty, goes righty. Dehan stops it.
Huge stop for Bridget Dehan, her 6th save of the day.
Up ahead to Choma. Double team comes in, and a foul call.
Something interesting to note, Bridget Dehan makes that save. Goalie world on the sideline, the rest of the Notre Dame goalkeepers, they're tracking the shot for Bridget so she can make those in-game adjustments. I think that's such a cool thing that her teammates do for her on the sidelines.
So they're telling her where she got saved on, or where she makes the saves and where she gets scored on?
Where the shot comes from, yes, and then if she does get scored on, where the score happened. So they're tracking it, sort of like in basketball, how you do a shot chart.
Another level to goalie world we're learning.
We're learning it.
Notre Dame out of timeouts. They need 2 goals in the final 2 minutes of this game to send it to overtime. Wollack scores! Jackie Wollack! Her 4th of the afternoon, and that is by far the biggest one.
What an unbelievable take here. Moak gets it to a streaking Wollack. Takes the pass on the run. Beautiful job, not slowing down her speed. She's headed right. She shoots back over to the left-hand side. What a score. She has been a spark. Ever since she hit the field, Notre Dame has played a lot better as they've tried to battle back to try to regain the lead. 39th goal this season.
I don't even believe that she ever got hurt and went down and went in the locker room and got taped up, because she's not playing like it.
That limped off in that 3rd quarter, has come back and scored 2 goals. 4 goals, 2 assists to aid this 7-2 Notre Dame run. The Irish started this game on the front foot. They had a 5-0 lead. Then #1 North Carolina battled back, scored 12 of the next 13 goals. Thought this game was over. Notre Dame never say die. They've made it a 1-goal game with 1:38 left. This will be the 31st draw control of the game. It is the most important. And it's won by North Carolina. Hillman has it for the Tar Heels. And if you look at the shot clock and the game clock, North Carolina can pretty much hold and win this game. It's a game of keep away now. Notre Dame needs to cause a turnover.
On the sideline, Notre Dame coach is holding up a sign 9-1-1. You can pretty much imagine what that means. They need the ball back now. Pressure is on.
North Carolina does have a timeout. At what point do you pull Dehan, the goalie?
I think you just start double teaming. You don't want to leave the goal completely wide open right now. You want to get it back because there's still plenty of time to get a turnover, but you got to double the ball.
Rose Brownie charges in, lost the handle, and a foul called. Christine Halfpenny, Notre Dame head coach, can't believe it. And there's no way she goes to goal here.
You look at that, the shot clock 44 seconds, the game clock 49 seconds. Now this is stuff that you practice on the sideline and in game situations in terms of getting the call in. Is Scotty Rose Browning allowed to take the shot? She doesn't take it. I think that's a very smart move right now. You got the 1-goal lead. The clock is on your side.
Mastriani has it. Double team comes in. 20 seconds away from clinching a spot at the ACC final. Clock continues to run. Notre Dame shouting it should be a delay of game. But the shot clock did not run. So the shot clock stayed at 13, but the game clock's run under 9 seconds.
And there's some calls with the officials when they tap the top of their head. That's when the shot clock stops, but the game clock continues to run.
And Ali Mastriani has won this game for North Carolina. The top-seeded Tar Heels survive 14-13, and the ACC championship will be determined in Chapel Hill.
What an unbelievable game. Back and forth action. Notre Dame proving that they are a team that's going to give postseason teams trouble if they're lucky enough to get in, but UNC showing their depth, their dominance. They better hug Taylor Marino, their goalie. She was great today.
Jenny Levy's team survives. They have secured a spot in the ACC championship game. Now awaiting the winner of Boston College and Virginia. For Notre Dame, you finished the season 9-9. Will it be enough for an at-large berth? They will find out a week from tonight on the Selection Show.
Just an unbelievable game. This is what you want in the ACC championship. Notre Dame gave North Carolina everything they could have. UNC's trying to get their 6th straight ACC championship.
A thriller between North Carolina and Notre Dame. Tar Heels take it 14-13. Let's get you to all ACC Dallin Cuff. Rachel DeCecco, take it away.